Like many farm boys, Garth Shingera of Regina, Saskatchewan is pretty handy with a welder. But these days, his welding is an important aspect of his part-time business, making toys for a growing list of customers, mostly farmers. Shingera has a day job as a mechanic, and in his spare time he likes to take his toys to shows. It was during one of those shows a few years ago when he realized that there was plenty of demand for his work.
Got a lot of looks, got a lot of interest, and I'm like, well, maybe this is something else I didn't really recognize. And from that point on, built more. Another idea came along, try that, another idea. It just kept on going and going, never stopped.
Shingera strictly built farm toys until he was inspired to create this detailed 1/32nd scale model of an oil rig. He figures he has 400 to 500 hours of work invested in the project, including about 150 hours of welding. This rig is known as a jackknife unit for how it can be raised and lowered.
About 4 feet high, roughly, is what it would be. It's a double, is what it's called. It's a double, and there's a double and a triple and a single. So basically, I think it goes basically on the types of length of pipes that it uses. This would be like 90 feet, roughly.
Even though he has never worked in the oil industry, Shingera did a lot of research and built the oil rig just like the real thing. The block and tackle not only looks authentic, it also works.
It's a rocker switch. In one direction you'll get it, and the motor will drive up the one direction. And what I'd done is I used 4 wires coming out of the motor, which initially was 2, but I used 4, because what I have is 2 relays inside the van body here. And what it does is what the switch does is just make the ground circuit. So, and it grounds directly to the battery. So every time you go to turn it and go up and down, that's what makes it all work out very well.
Instead of buying a new electric motor to run the block and tackle, Shingera was able to salvage exactly what he needed from an old school bus.
The stop sign that moves outward for people driving by and the stop sign comes out, this is actually the motor that drives it. It's gear reduction, and it moves at a very slow rate. It's very good for this type of thing, for the fact that it's basically powered up and ready to go. You put 12 volts to it, and it works.
Finding the cable that was capable of repeatedly raising and lowering the block and tackle turned out to be quite a challenge. But eventually, Shingera came up with an ideal solution.
It's more or less like a shoestring material, and that's so that it's soft, it has a memory, and it makes the block and tackle work very well because it's so soft, and the block and tackle is heavy that I used here, that the weight of it keeps it naturally holding itself down. It works very well.
He lights up the oil rig just like the full-sized units. He recycled some old LED Christmas lights, which are easy to work with because they don't get hot. If anyone is interested in buying this oil rig, the price tag would be around $8,000. That would cover the material costs and the over 400 hours of labor Shingera has invested in this very unique project.